Welcome in, everybody, to the Zander Krause Show and Jacob Sports. It's official. The Philadelphia Eagles are heading to New Orleans for a Super Bowl rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 years ago, the Philadelphia Eagles just fell short as the confetti rained down on Jalen Hurts' head, and he walked off the field with his head hanging. Now, it's payback time. Okay? It's payback time. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and this entire team have a second shot at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and you better believe they are ready for war. The Eagles just dropped 55 points in the NFC Championship game. The offense is more explosive. The defense is tougher, and the hunger for the Lombardi Trophy has never been greater in the city. We got a lot to break down tonight on the show, and we will dive into all of that, what this rematch means, the biggest keys to the victory in the game, and why this time the Philadelphia Eagles will finish the job. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here tonight after two great championship playoff games unfolded in the NFL today. The Philadelphia Eagles beat up on the Washington Commanders pretty good. 55-23. What a freaking game, everybody, for the Philadelphia Eagles. And now, the Kansas City Chiefs knocked off the Bills. What was it, 32-29 or 35-22? 32-29, the Kansas City Chiefs knocked them off. Now, I didn't have a chance to consume all that game because we were live on the postgame show. But I did want to do a quick instant reaction because my heart is beating fast as we now prep for this Super Bowl rematch. And I kind of gave it to you in the open, just how I feel about this. I think our offense is better. Our team is better. Our defense is tougher. I think Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni have gained valuable experience from that Super Bowl, which is pretty unbelievable. And that's just awesome. So let's get into the game a little bit. The revenge tour is complete, but the job is not done. You know, the job is not done here, but the revenge tour is complete just in the sense that we now know who the Super Bowl will be and who is representing each conference in the Super Bowl, and it's Eagles, it's Chiefs. How much does I'll ask you guys, how much does Super Bowl 57 factor into this game? How much does that loss fuel the Birds in this rematch? What did Philadelphia learn from that Super Bowl? Like I said, and I asked John this question on the postgame show, and I thought he had a good answer. It's a new team. You can't take too much of it, but I don't agree. And this is why I don't agree. Because every football team is comprised of key players. And I'm not saying Saquon Barkley's not a key player, but Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, all right? Nick Sirianni's the head coach, all right? Howie Roseman's the GM. A lot of the pieces that were A.J. Brown's still your star wide receiver. Lane Johnson and your offensive line are much the same. I mean, there's a lot of people in that game who matter a lot to the Birds who experienced that loss. What do you learn from that game? How much do you take from it? Maybe it's nothing. It's a new team. It's a new year. It might be nothing. But I do think that, there's a quote I said on the postgame show that I think rings true, and it's right from Jalen Hurts, okay? And it's, I didn't walk through the fire just to smell the smoke. And I think when Jalen Hurts says that, he doesn't just mean I didn't go through this to reach the pinnacle. I learned from this shit. What's the other quote that Jalen Hurts had? I wear my scars with me everywhere I go. I don't forget. Jalen Hurts learned something from that Super Bowl, and I would expect if he could, I don't know if he can get better than he was in that Super Bowl outside of not fumbling the ball, but I would expect Jalen Hurts to have a very big game. Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. Round 2, everybody. Round 2 of the quarterback matchup. Round 2 of taking on the GOAT, the second GOAT, the new GOAT. We had a guy on the postgame show, and I want to give him credit. Why am I blank? Dover's Army. And he says it's almost like it was storybook written. Remember, we lost to Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. Okay. And then we bounced back and beat Tom Brady. It was poetic justice. It was revenge. It was the perfect story of the David knocking off Goliath, right? Same here. Knocked off in 22, all right, by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as they embark on their what's now become a dynasty. They're heading for a three-peat. And here we are, the Eagles with Jalen, with Nick, with another chance to knock off the greatest team in football in the last 3 years. Will Jalen Hurts take down Mahomes on the stage? I believe he will. You know, what we saw from Jalen Hurts today was nothing short of exceptional. It was the best game he's played all year. I think anybody who had any questions about him should shut the fuck up for a second. I certainly will. I certainly don't care about any concerns I have with Jalen Hurts. What will be different about this matchup? And I think it's very clear. I think our defense is more stout. I know that 22 team had a lot of sacks. I think this defense this year is more positioned for success, and they bode better versus a Kansas City offense who thrives, on intermediate and short passing game, picking up, they get the ball to their playmakers in space and they allow those playmakers to go to work. So I love the way our defense matches up with them. And then you had Saquon Barkley. We run the ball well in 2022. We had Miles Sanders. We get into the Super Bowl game and they go away from it. Miles Sanders, you remember he bounced outside, fumbled on one of the first or second play of the game. They didn't go back to him much in that game. HKP, good job by you, man. Good job by you. Saquon Barkley in this game, he makes all the difference in the world in this running game. Now you have Nick Sirianni versus Andy Reid. The chess match part 2. Two people who could potentially go down as famous Eagles coaches. I mean, I don't know about you guys, and maybe it's not the right week to say this, but I certainly still love Andy Reid. I love Andy Reid. When they don't play the Eagles, it doesn't bother me to see Andy Reid win because I think he set this organization up. I think he's a big part of the reason that the organization does the things they do now. Now, I know he didn't ultimately reach the goal in Philly, 14 seasons. I understand that, but will Sirianni be able to outcoach Big Red in the game? Anytime Andy Reid's got a lot of times to prepare for a game, man, you get a little nervous about that. So he's got 2 weeks now to prep for this game, and it should be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I think the storylines in this game, the revenge, the quarterbacks, Jalen versus Patrick again, part 2, Nick Sirianni versus Andy Reid, the Eagles offense. How about that Eagles offense? 55 points in the NFC Championship game. Will they be able to keep that momentum? Will they be able to replicate or duplicate that performance that they had today? Again, I was on the postgame show. I didn't have a chance to consume all of Jalen and Nick's thoughts. I didn't hear their press conferences. I didn't even see what they said on the field yet. I'm going to go back when I end this show and watch it all. But you got to think that they were in their bag today. And I thought Kellen Moore was too, man. And I think there's some stuff you can take from today's game and continue that and build on that and have a really prolific offense in this game. I think it's going to be one of the keys, obviously, after dropping 55 on the Commanders. What will we be able to do against that Andy Reid defense? That's a tough defense. That's a good defense, man. Steve Spagnuolo is going to bring the blitz. He's going to play physical. They have good physical corners. Trent McDuffie's a great corner. Great corner. They have some good players on that defense. So the matchup is going to be unbelievable. By the way, it still hasn't fully dawned on me. It still hasn't fully set in that it's no longer a hope or a prospect or you wonder if you'll ever face Mahomes. It's here. The teams are set. Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl 59, a rematch of Super Bowl 57. Man, is it storybook. Stopping Mahomes and Kelsey, okay? Going to the defensive side of the ball now for the Eagles. What does that look like? What's the defensive game plan coming into this game? How do the Eagles contain Mahomes for 4 quarters? How do you respond to what Travis Kelsey has been able to do in the playoffs? Now, I don't know what his stat line was today. Let me pull it up because I know he was on a tear of 14 straight playoff games, the longest in NFL history of having over 70 yards. He had only 19 yards in today's game. So not a big game for him. He ended the streak. I didn't quite realize that. But how do you mitigate him in that game? And now they have a litany of playmakers, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster. Isaiah Pacheco, DeAndre Hopkins, Kareem Hunt. They've kind of built this offensive juggernaut. Yeah, Xavier Worthy, man. I'll give you credit if you're a Chiefs fan. I think there's a Chiefs fan in the building. Good to have you in here, brother. I appreciate it. We'll be welcoming. Look, I want all fans in here this week. I want Chiefs fans, Eagles fans, Commander fans, Bills fans. We're now preparing for the greatest game in football. This is why we're all football fans. Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year. I watched that thing just like I would watch the Eagles. So I'm going to welcome every fan in here. We appreciate you for being here. Xavier Worthy is a great player, no doubt about it, man. He's got great speed, and Andy knows how to get him the ball in space. But how do you slow down, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce? We have the number one defense in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, the ultimate litmus test on a defense in the modern NFL is how do you fare against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid? And even more importantly, how do you fare against them in the biggest games of the year, the playoffs, when they're really going all out? The storylines in this game are just phenomenal. They're tremendous. They really are. Let's talk X factors, okay? And I'm going to take some chat questions at the end of this. I'm just kind of running through. I laid down just a quick rundown I made of the game that I wanted to get through. In my rundown, I kind of gave you it already. Revenge tour, Jalen Hurts versus Mahomes, part 2. Sirianni versus Andy, part 2. Eagles offense, and then the defense stopping Mahomes and Kelce. And then you have the X factors and my final thoughts. So for the X factors, who's an X factor in this game? I think the Eagles are obvious. And in fact, maybe they're obvious on both teams, but I think there's a little bit more of a chance of a sleeper with the Kansas City Chiefs team just because they have so many different players on that offense that can get the ball, that can make a play, that can get the ball out of the backfield, that can catch the ball. They got multiple tight ends. They got multiple receivers, multiple backs. I mean, there's so many different weapons that Andy can use. And by the way, they're mostly healthy right now. So, X factors in this game. I'm going to go to the guy the Chiefs guy just brought up. I'm going to go to Xavier Worthy. I think he could be an X factor in this game. That speed, that's breakaway speed. How do the Eagles mitigate that? Who do you put on them? It's going to be very interesting. This is going to be an unbelievable chess match. And I will say, one of the best storylines, and I didn't put this in my rundown, and I should have. One of the best storylines in this game is the veteran head coaches. And that's not Nick Sirianni. I'm not talking about Nick Sirianni. I'm talking about Andy Reid, the offensive guru, the offensive mastermind that is Andy Reid, versus Vic Fangio, the defensive mastermind who's been around the league as long as Andy, maybe longer than Andy. The number one defense in Philly, the number one linebacker in Philly in Zach Bond, maybe the number one defensive tackle. I think you have the two best defensive tackles in the NFL in this game. And I'll still give Chris Jones the nod at number 1. Chris Jones, number 1, Jalen Carter, number 2. Which one of those two players will make a play in this game? It's going to be unbelievable the way this game plays out. I'm going to go to the chat. Who are some of your X factors in this game, everybody? Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl 59 is upcoming. Man in Black says Taylor Swift. Dallas Goedert. That's a great X factor there, HKP. That's a great X factor. Dallas Goedert. You really see what kind of capabilities Dallas Goedert has when they use him. Every once in a while, he makes a play, and you're just like, damn, why don't we use him more? Guy is so good. Will Shipley, LOL, that's a good one. DeJean, I like that one. Look, flexing. The one thing about DeJean in this game is they got a lot of guys that can line up all over the field, right? Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, they got receivers that they can line up anywhere. It's a great take. That's a great X factor right there. How will Cooper DeJean mitigate what they're able to do in the slot? A couple of you guys brought up Zach Bond. Zach Bond, easy X factor. By the way, can we just give a clap for him? It's one thing to get the all-pro nod. It's a whole other thing to go into the NFC Championship game and play the game of your life. To continue to perform at such a high level is remarkable from Zach Bond. He's a clear X factor in this game. My guy Kakoa brings up a good one. Jake Elliott. He missed a kick today. How much is a factor in that? How much could that be a factor in this football game? How close do you think this game will be, guys? You think this is going to be a close game? No one. That's a great one, Neil. No one is playing red. He is red hot right now. I believe he's now set the record for most sacks in a single Eagles postseason. So Stilly has been saying we need a replacement for Hassan Reddick. Well, I think he might have arrived in Nolan Smith. By the way, tip the cap to that guy, man. Unbelievable coming out party this year. The last 10, 12 games, he's been really remarkable as an edge rusher, really starting to look the part. 10.5 on the year. Well done, Neil. Really impressive. Young Native says, can Eagles be healthy in 2 weeks? Got some injuries on that offensive line. Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson was banged up. But, Young Native, I'll say this. Jalen Carter's healthy. Zach Bond's healthy. Slay is healthy. Quinyon Mitchell's healthy. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's healthy, and Reed Blankenship's healthy. Nolan Smith is healthy. Josh Sweat is healthy. Milton Williams is healthy. Jalen Hurts is healthy. A.J. Brown appears healthy. Devontae Smith healthy. Dallas Goedert healthy. Lane Johnson healthy. Jordan Mailata healthy. Saquon Barkley healthy. So there's a few guys that you're wondering about, but overall, I think the Eagles are actually in a pretty good spot when it comes to being healthy. Cooper is healthy. So I feel like I don't feel like injuries are actually a huge factor in this game. Now, Young Native, if you're a Chiefs fan, can you give me the rundown? Who is not healthy right now in the Kansas City Chiefs? Gainwell, he could be a factor. He might be out, Mike M. He's got the concussion. He missed the rest of the game with the concussion. He left the game today. So maybe he, is not healthy. But everybody else appears to be healthy for the most part. I mean, obviously you have some guys that are – nobody's fully healthy in this game. But, Young Native checks in. Mecole Hardman. Boy, that's a good-looking report if that's all you got, Young Native, because you guys still got Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco. Whew, you guys got a lot of guys on that offense. You guys it's a funny team, this Chiefs team, because they don't have any real big, great superstar, but they have a collection of talent that Andy pulls the most out of that helps them win games. And remember, this team should not be slept on at all. I know everybody feels great about the Eagles, and I do too. 55 points today. This Chiefs team really lost one game this year. One game. Now, it shows too because they gave up week 18. They put in all their backups, and they let the Denver Broncos beat up on them. But this team lost one game where they had everybody playing. This team should not be slept on, man. This is a great football team, man. It's a great football team. Look at Joe. Come on, man. I just been glazing the Eagles for the first 20 minutes of the show. I mentioned one good thing about the reigning Super Bowl champions, and you're in here crying. Come on, Joe. You're better than that. Ray Twan, what's up, brother? Zander, I need the no-holes defense shirt, 2XL. All right, brother. I got to get that made. How about that no-holes defense? Abe, can you make me a no-holes defense mock-up? I'll get that thing printed. ASAP. All right, brother? BG, Cody K. BG could be coming back, man. We'll see. Doughboy checks in. The key to this game, Devontae Smith and AJ have to have a good game. I think they will, man. You saw Doughboy. You saw what Kellen Moore was able to do today. You saw the way Jalen Hurts was decisive with the football today. I don't think those two things are separate. I believe that Jalen Hurts was able to be more decisive today because Kellen Moore mixed it up in his route concepts, showed him more areas of the game to exploit an attack, and I thought Jalen was more decisive because of that. All right. I thought Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore both complemented each other very well, and that was a big reason. Okay. El Yepa, I'm not saying we're not. Zander, we're just as good, Yepa says. El Yepa, I agree. I'm just saying I don't want people to fall into the trap of, okay, we destroyed the Commanders, so we're going to destroy the Chiefs. I honestly feel pretty good, man. I feel pretty good about this game. But, again, this is a team that is going for 3 straight Super Bowls. They just beat the Buffalo Bills. Okay. And they lost one football game this year. One football game that Patrick Mahomes started. That's pretty unbelievable when you think about it. So this is going to be an unbelievable matchup. I am so excited to do it. I'm already. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. Because I'm already excited for what we're about to have on Jacob Sports. I'm going to be live all week. I'm going to be doing giveaways of Eagles merch all week long, all right? I'm going to stock up on the jerseys and everything I can get to give away to the great people of Jacob Nation. All right, so I'm going to be doing that. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for this next 2 weeks, for this journey that we're all about to go on. And like I said, 22 is great, but I was behind the scenes in 22. I wasn't on the air. This feels special. This feels more special to me because, I believe we have a great community here. I like to believe that. Maybe we're not, but I believe our community on Jacob Sports is a great, tight-knit community. And I say it all the time. I really love you guys. I love everybody. I don't love just Eagles fans. I love all the people. I love James Jones, a Commander fan. I love Nad, who's a Niner fan. I love the Chiefs fans that we have in here now. I love the community of football fans that we have here. And I'm most excited for this run because of that. For me, that's just a personal thing, just because I'm excited now to do shows all week long, to talk to you guys about, to hear from you guys, to, break it all down and to experience the highs and the lows that come with everything in the next 2 weeks. And it's going to be great, man. It's going to be really great, man. Mac Main says, no BS. This channel does feel like family. Mac, I love that, man. That's a great comment. I appreciate that because that's really it's certainly what it feels like to me, Mac. But it's hard to gauge if that feels like that for you guys. Obviously, I can't speak for you guys, but I'm super excited about everything we got going on. And the channel has really been great all year. You guys have been great all year. And now we get to go on this 2-week journey, preparing for a Super Bowl to be played in a rematch versus Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Like, you can't write storyline. You can't get the most creative guy on the planet to write storylines like this. David Kaufman checks in. What are your early thoughts about the KC Philly matchup? David, I think it's a great matchup. If you're just checking in, David, I gave you a rundown. I've laid out a little show topic. I had a couple minutes, but when I got off the postgame show, I just wrote down a couple of topics here that I wanted to talk about on the show. The revenge tour, David. That's my first thought. All right. We've been on a 2-year revenge tour, and the tour is complete, but the job is not finished, if that makes sense. The tour is complete in the sense that here we are, and we know that the Eagles are going to rematch the Chiefs. So the revenge tour is complete. The job is not finished. Okay? The job is not finished. Then you have Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes, brother. Does it get better than that? Round 2. Jalen versus Mahomes. Round 2. Super Bowls. Nick Sirianni versus Andy Reid. Who wins the chess match? Who wins the chess match in that round 2? Eagles offense, Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley against Steve Spagnuolo and that Kansas City Chiefs defense. Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie. They got great players all around that defense. Who wins that chess match? And then on the other side, Vic Fangio versus Andy Reid. Mahomes and Kelsey versus Bond and Carter and the great secondary in Philly. I mean, the matchups in this game, the storylines in this game, they don't get any better than that. My early thoughts are that I think we match up pretty well, but I think this is the best matchup. I think this is the hardest matchup. I think it's fitting that we're playing this team in the Super Bowl. Fangio versus Spags, Philly to Chicago. That's got to be the best matchup coming in. Fangio on the Eagles defense, Spags on the Chiefs defense, and then, by the way, Fangio versus Andy Reid? Come on, man. That's 2 masterminds at their craft, man. 2 masterminds at their craft. Ryan says, killing me, Zander. I don't know why, Ryan. You got to let me know, brother. You got to let me know. And Neil checks in. I trust Jalen this time. 100%, bro. 100%. Rashid checks in. Let's be real. We lost 1 game missing our 1 receiver, 1 game missing our number 1 and number 2 receivers and our right tackle, and 1 game missing our quarterback. That's true, Rashid. It's a good point, man. Good point. Very good point. Ryan checks in. I see it. Xander, Jalen said Nick finally let him out of his straitjacket, which solidifies John's take on them holding him back since the bye week. How do you feel about that? I feel good about that, Ryan. I feel good about that. Seems like the coach made the right decision. And as much as Jalen might have been itching, Jalen deserves credit for that as well, because he is a guy that truly practices what he preaches. Ryan, he says all the time, I care about the main thing. The main thing is winning. Ryan, you take another quarterback and you tell them, I'm not going to let you be, or I'm not going to let you out of your straitjacket all year long. Most of them wouldn't take that. They'd rather lose and throw 350 than win and throw 160 and have the whole NFL world question how good you are. That takes a man who's comfortable, who has no ego, and who truly practices what he preaches in terms of, I care about winning. I don't care about what Zander Krause and Dan Cilio say about me on the National Football Show. I don't care what the NFL national media says about me. I don't care who thinks what. If we won the game, that's what I want to know. So, in a way, Ryan, I feel maybe better about that than I originally thought when I pulled this comment on the screen. Boy, that shows you that Jalen Hurts really does practice what he freaking preaches, man. He doesn't care. You take most quarterbacks in the league, they wouldn't be all right with that. They wouldn't be all right with that. Jalen Hurts' best accolade. He practices what he preaches. I love it. Great stuff, man. That's going to do it for the show tonight. I'll take a few more comments if any come in. All right, Philly Don says, my only question is, will the two rookie corners be able to keep their composure and not let the hype and glitter get in their heads? Well, Philly Don, they haven't done it all year, so why would I assume that they're going to fold in the biggest moment? I do not anticipate that. Now, what I do anticipate, Don, is Andy Reid potentially preying on their youth and saying, these are not seasoned players yet. How can I scheme up Xavier Worthy? How can I scheme up Hollywood Brown? How can I scheme up DeAndre Hopkins to go up against two young players who are talented and good, but inexperienced? That could be interesting. Good one there, Philly Don. Zeke, can you tell us what John told you off the record leading up to the game? Denny, I don't want to do that because I was asked to keep it off the record, but I'll say this, Denny. Anything you read that this team has locker room problems, any news you read that Nick Sirianni doesn't have this team playing for him, anything you read that would insinuate that these guys don't love and play for the person next to them is a flat out lie. The best part about Nick Sirianni is that he has these guys bought in, and he's a great leader of men, and he's proven that. And what I was told had everything to do with me. That was my one question, Denny. And I appreciate you bringing it up. And maybe if John tells me we could say it, I will say it. But until I hear that, out of respect for him, I'm not going to say it. Maybe the one question I had, though, Denny, was, how bought in is this team? Does A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts have beef? Do some of that locker room things exist? Is Jalen Hurts upset about, the way the national media talks about him? And when I heard this, I realized this team is so together. Everything we say on the outside is literal rat poison to them. They don't care. They fight for one another. You heard Jordan Mailata at the press conference this week? We don't give a F. He means that. He means that, man. He means that. So, unbelievable. The story of the next 2 weeks, Super Bowl 59, the rematch, Eagles versus Chiefs, the rematch is upon us. Mahomes versus Hurts, part 2. Reed versus Sirianni, part 2. Fangio versus Reed. Spagnuolo versus Jalen and Kellen Moore. I mean, you can't write this script any better. I am so jacked up. I am so ready to go. I don't know how I'm going to sleep. I really don't. For the next 2 weeks, it's going to be a movie, a storybook finish. And as an Eagle fan, I don't think we would have it any different. All right? We have a chance here to knock off this team that knocked us off 2 years ago. Think about that moment. Think about that. And Carson Wentz will be out there. Forgot about that. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm with you, man. We just took out Ertz. Now we're coming for Andy and Carson next. No doubt about it. All right, everybody. I appreciate, man, everybody today. If you're here now, I appreciate you. Hit that like button for me, man. It really helps the shows out. If you were on the postgame show with me, I appreciate you. If you shared a super chat today at any point, I appreciate you. If you're a member, I appreciate you. If you're a legend member, thank you so much for the support you give to the channel. If you're a gray, thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for watching the content. Thank you for engaging in the chat. Let's do this, man. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And we could forever live in NFL history. Let's go, man. I'm jacked up. I appreciate each and every one of you, man. Thank you so much for all the support. Let's keep it going. Big 2 weeks coming up on the channel. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be live 8 a.m. 8 a.m. tomorrow, Birds 365, 8 to 10. The National Football Show, 2 to 6. Should be a good one. And maybe some more content in the middle with me. I'll go live at any point. I'm jacked up. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope to see all of you guys on the shows in the morning. That's going to do it. See you next time, everybody. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. The job is not finished. Channel that Kobe. We need it. Job's not finished. We've been here. We know this. We've been in this moment. We've been to this stage. We want more than we had in 22. Job's not finished. Appreciate it. Love you all, man. See you next time.
EAGLES. Eagles.